Hi, I'm Hannah Metzinger, a thrower on the women's track and field team, and you are watching the Black and Gold Report on WFXE.
Hello Braves fans and welcome to this week's edition of the Black and Gold Report, a program all about UNCP athletics. I'm Kevin Freeman and today on the show we'll be talking with Assistant AD for Media Relations Todd Anderson, but first we're joined by head men's basketball coach Ben Miller. Coach, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Todd.
Let's talk about the basketball season so far. The team's 13-7, you're 6-4 in Peach Belt play. Assess the season for us so far, about 2/3 of the way through.
Well, it's going quickly. You know, this time of year, the games come so fast, you don't really have time to really look back and reflect. But, you know, we've had our ups and downs, a couple bumps in the road, but I like where we're at right now, and hopefully we can try to stay consistent down the stretch here this last month of the season.
Well, you've had a very successful 4-game road swing. The Braves went 3-1 on that road trip. Talk about the success of the team over the last couple of weeks. We'll go into some specifics about games, but why are they playing so well right now?
Well, you know, we're missing Shamel there for a stretch, and so his first game out against Southwestern, we did not play well, and I think we were trying to adjust to playing without him. And then the guys kind of regrouped, and we had the tough stretch on the road and won 3 out of 4. Did not play well against Montevallo, but other than that, really pleased with the guys, the effort, and you know, they came up with a big win Saturday at Augusta. But overall, we've made a couple little changes here and there. You know, Shamel back for his first game struggled a little bit, but that's to be expected. He was been out for a couple weeks. But overall, the young guys are getting more experienced, and getting some other guys healthy will really help us too down the stretch.
It was Shamel's ankle, is that correct, or his leg?
Actually, his Achilles.
Oh, okay. And how he's doing better, obviously good
better
enough to play.
Yeah, better. I think his conditioning's got to come back a little bit, and just his timing and rhythm too.
Well, I wanted to analyze a couple of the most recent road games. First, the Montevallo game that you mentioned. It was a very even game in the first half, and then all of a sudden in the second half, Montevallo just couldn't seem to miss. Or they hit, 13 three-pointers that game. They shot about 70% from the floor in the second half, and at the same time, the Braves went pretty cold. Was this just a matter of those two things happening at the same time, or was there something else going on?
Well, they're good. You got to give them credit. You know, they had a lot to do with us not playing well in the second half. But I was really disappointed with just little things like a defensive stance. You know, we tell our guys, and old coaching buddy of mine said one time, if you're in a stance, you got a chance. You know, if you're straight up and down defensively, you can't move and contest shots as well. You can't avoid screens. And so little things like just sprinting back on defense and getting in a stance, those things really were not very good the second half, and that helped them. But again, give them credit, they played really well.
What can you do against a team who has such a hot hand? I mean, it happens to every team where there's just a period of time where they just hit everything they shoot. What do you tell your players when you just get on them closer? Or how do you guard
if they're
that?
contested, good players are going to make some contested shots, but obviously we gave them some uncontested shots, which good shooters are going to knock those in, and we got to. When you have a guy that can really shoot it, limiting their touches, making them work for catches, and then trying to contest as best you can, and obviously we did a poor job of that second half.
Well, the most recent game was the Augusta State game on Saturday. It's the first time you beat them at their place in 10 years. The team kept the lead pretty much the entire game. I think you lost the lead by 1 point early in the first half there. What were the keys to victory in that game?
Really a good group effort. A lot of guys played well. Brandon went down with a concussion that game. Shamel was just coming back, and then Quamain went out in the second half with a bruised back. So Reggie was out with the flu. So we were trying to piece it together, and Jihad's playing out of position, but did some really good things. Alex and Griffin off the bench gave us some really good minutes, and Ben Jacobs had 14 points off the bench, which was huge. And Big George had another big game for us.
We'll talk about George here in a couple of minutes, but does it show maturity? And I know your team's very young, really. You play a lot of underclassmen, but does it show maturity when a team can keep focused with all these injuries, playing in a hostile environment against a team historically they haven't done very well against? I mean, does it say something about the team's maturity?
I do think the young guys are growing up, and by this time of year, those freshmen aren't really freshmen anymore. sophomores, Ben and Griff got a lot of experience last year. So, the seniors showed really good leadership on Saturday, and the young guys stepped up and made plays as well.
Well, basketball, and it's a weird question, but basketball arguably has the best or the largest home field advantage, home court advantage, virtually any sport. I mean, it's hard to win in basketball games on the road. How are the Braves overcoming this?
I think how you approach the games has got to be very consistent. And I do think our guys have done a good job. And even last year we were pretty good on the road of kind of rallying around. It's kind of us against the world mentality where you got to be that much sharper and be that much more focused. And sometimes, our focus has been even a little bit better on the road because guys know they have to. You don't expect good calls from the officials. The other team's probably going to be a little more comfortable, and you got to do some things defensively to really try to set the tone, and then be very consistent on the type of shots you're getting. You can't take quick shots when the other team's making a run, and that's something I think over the course of this season we've gotten a little bit better with. Especially these last few weeks.
Real quick, Coach, how important is it taking the crowd out of the game on the road?
Some places it's more difficult than others, and there's some really great venues in this league, and so I don't know that. I think our guys like playing in front of crowds, whether they're, we love our crowd, but being on the road where there's a hostile environment, I think our guys get that much more excited and look forward to those opportunities.
All right, Coach, we're going to take our first break. We're going to come back and talk a little more to Coach Miller about the upcoming schedule.
I thought it was my lungs.
I was having shortness of breath.
I had a great team of doctors.
Dr. Lowry, wonderful doctor. The only one, really, who has ever had my heart in his hand.
I don't think you got any better treatment in Duke than you got him.
I felt very safe.
I feel good. Got energy.
I go to the mall and walk 2 miles.
I come out victorious.
I love Southeastern, and of course, if it has something to do with their heart, this is where you get it.